everyone, welcome back to the Book Cave with me, Jenny. So today I have a new release video for you all. These are all 2026 releases, and they are actually also all sequels, and they are all sequels that I've been relatively excited for. So I'm just going to jump on into the first book. So I'm starting this video off with The Thorn Queen, which is the sequel to The Rose Bargain, and we pick up 4 months after the end of The Rose Bargain, and we're following Ivy, Lydia, Brom, and Emmett again, of course, along with all their friends and their different machinations. So right now I'm about 68-ish pages in, which is like 17%, I believe it says. And I'm honestly really liking this. It's not something I actually expected to like, as I said when I read The Rose Bargain last year, because it is the selection meets Bridgerton, and I wasn't that into the selection, but the fact that it was set in the past and was with Fae instead of being dystopia like the selection, I figured I'd give it a try, and I actually did like it. And this one is actually quite a bit darker so far. I will say in this one, we are getting a lot more of the Fae. We're seeing a different side of Brom, and we're also seeing a different side of Ivy. And I really like this other side of Ivy. I feel like she has really grown as a character, and I do really enjoy that in this book. And I'm really interested to see where this goes, because it does kind of feel like they're at a dead end, because we have pretty much no clues about anything. But obviously, I'm still early on in the book. But yeah, I'm going to keep reading. I might possibly finish it today, because it is definitely YA writing, but not necessarily in a bad way. It's just very simple writing, a very simple sentence structure, and yeah, it just makes for a very quick read. I made it to page 200 in this between yesterday and today. And I have to say, I am still enjoying it, but I am finding that Ivy's characterization is kind of regressing a little bit. I will say we also go to the other world in this book, and I am enjoying kind of seeing that court, but it is at that point that Ivy starts to regress, and that's definitely part that I am not enjoying. We do also finally get to meet Lydia, which I am really enjoying as well. And yeah, overall, I am still enjoying this, and it is definitely a fast-paced story, and it does continue to be, like I said before, definitely YA with the style of writing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't feel like it's hitting you over the head with simple things. It's just stating things in a very simple way, which, like I said, I do kind of expect with it being a YA book. But yeah, I'm hoping I can finish this today. I'm not sure. I do have about 150 pages left. I finished The Thorn Queen today, and I do have to say, I did enjoy this. I felt like it was a pretty good continuation and conclusion to this duology. I will say, as I said before, it's definitely geared more towards YA, But as long as you go in knowing that, I do feel like it doesn't really detract from it because you are kind of expecting some of the characterizations. That is one thing that did bother me a little bit, though. I did feel like the characters regressed a little bit in this book at times, and it wasn't necessarily a lot, though, but it was like enough to be noticeable. And yeah, I did really enjoy getting to know Ivy and Lydia and everything. And honestly, this book was more what I expected of the first, because as I said before, we actually wound up going to the other world in this one. And I kind of felt like that was where the first one was going to go with it. So yeah, it was nice to see that as well. And the epilogue was extremely cute, although it did leave one thing to be desired. And if you read the book, you will probably get what that is. But yeah, I did enjoy this, like I said. My third new release for this year is Sea of Charms. This is, of course, book 3 in the Spell Shop series, following the Spell Shop and the Enchanted Greenhouse. I do feel like you can read these in any order, although this one does start out a little bit before the Enchanted Greenhouse. The very beginning of this basically tells you what happened to start the Enchanted Greenhouse novel, because Marin is our main character here, and along with her parents, she owns a sailing company that basically does supply runs throughout the whole Crescent Islands empire. And she goes to Elysium, of course, which is the capital, and is there during the revolution that started at the very beginning of the spell shop, and was the whole reason that the character there had fled. I do feel like this is a very fun little book. I'm at chapter 6 so far, and we follow, like I said, Marin. And I do like the fact that we're going to get, I think, a lot more of the world, just because of the fact that, she is a trader and travels around. So that part I'm looking very much forward to. I also absolutely love her parents. They are very fun, and I love the fact as well that her home is surrounded by peach trees. And it seems to me as well that her island is a pretty temperate island. She seems to describe it as basically being in kind of like the tropics. It's very summery all year round. So it's definitely a very appropriate time to read this as well. I got up to chapter 12 in A Sea of Charms, and we now have a few new characters. I shouldn't say they're really new. The one character is new to this book, but we did meet Dax near the very beginning. And he is a musician in Elysium, and Marin is very good friends with him, and he winds up becoming a part of her crew. And I absolutely love their relationship. Like, they do have a lot of, like, each of them knows things that the other doesn't, and they just complement each other very well. And the way that they're both willing to, like, teach each other is really fun. And I still absolutely love Perry, the little sea serpent. And then we also have, of course, the winged cats. They are in all the books, and they're just a little cute little addition. And then we have Ree, who we had met in the Enchanted Greenhouse. He is a sentient wax myrtle plant and has always dreamed of being on the sea. And so Marin decides to take him along with her. And he is another character that is just very fun and kind of is overly exuberant and just likes to have fun, but yet he also is very helpful to Marin. And yeah, so far this is just really fun. I will say it definitely does have the cozy vibes. They all kind of have, and they still have like that background of the whole revolution. And yeah, I just think it's really, really fun. I finished Sea of Charms, and this was an extremely fun book. And I just absolutely love this world. And I love seeing all the different islands and seeing Marin and Dax kind of become better friends and just learn so much about each other. And I absolutely love Ree. He is adorable and is easily the best part of this book. I also loved how everybody changed throughout this book, and they kind of changed for the better. You know, they gained knowledge and experience and self confidence. And I also love the fact that we get to see the people from the first two books as well, if only briefly. But that was definitely fun. And I still stand by you can read this series in any order and you can read them each as like a standalone. And yeah, I really do enjoy that about series when they're kind of just loosely interconnected. And yeah, I also love the fact that we kind of get even more of a time frame in this, and this kind of goes through everything that happened in the first two books and then gives us a little bit of extra time. And I'm definitely excited to read The Magical Cheese Emporium when it comes out in, I believe, January, as there is a little hint of that in here, which I do believe I had said earlier. And I just really enjoy learning more about the magical creatures and things that are in this world. So, the next book I'm going to read, I believe, is going to be The Rebel and the Rose. So I'm going to start that and let you all know when I've gotten a little bit into it. I made it 5 chapters into The Rebel and the Rose so far, and this one, of course, is continuing the book The Dagger and the Flame, and this follows Sarah Marchant and Ransom Hale, who, of course, are in 2 opposite orders. And this one also introduces a new character who is a prince of the country they live in. And it does also expand the world a little bit, as it does mention some other countries. I'm not sure if we'll actually get to go there or not. And then this one also has a lot more to do with the saints. And yeah, that's really all I can say without spoiling it too much. But it's definitely interesting. I would like to see where they go with the whole people's saint that has been brought up in this book. And I also really love all the side characters. And then Sarah and Ransom, they just truly feel like they're on opposite sides, but yet Sarah is still on his side. And yeah, I especially love her parts because she's just like I will save him no matter if he wants it or not. And that is just really fascinating to me. And we do kind of get that in the first book, but I feel like it's going to be a lot bigger in this one. And I am also very excited for book 3, which comes out in mid or early November. And it will be a yellow cover as well. So that will be fun. And yeah, I'm definitely excited to get further into here and to learn some more about this world and this new prince character. And yeah, I will report back when I get a little further. I finished The Rebel and the Rose, and I did really enjoy this. I feel like it took a twist for sure that I really wasn't expecting. And yeah, there's not a whole lot else I can say other than this is definitely a cliffhanger ending. And I do enjoy seeing Seraphine and Ransom back together. And yep, that's really all I can say about this one. I do apologize for not updating all that much on this one. The final book I have for this video is going to be Adversary for the Villain, and this is book 4 in the Assistant to the Villain series. And this follows, of course, Evie and Tristan, as the other ones have. And this is somewhere between a workplace romance and a fantasy romance. And so far throughout this series, I do like all of our characters. I do think it is very funny. I've had quite a few times as I've been listening to actually all of these that I have laughed at one of the little quips because some of these one-liners are just really, really hilarious and you just have to laugh at them. So this one sees a pretty big shift in the whole story with several characters. And one thing I did dislike about this a little bit, and I felt the same way in the last book, the first two I don't think were quite as bad, but I feel like sometimes we just have too many point of views. And especially when most of these characters are together, that I feel like it's not necessarily needed, and it can get a little bit confusing at times, which that might be more from me listening instead of reading. But yeah, other than that, this is, like I said, just very fun and lighthearted. And I was under the impression this was the last one, and I did recently find out that no, it is not. There is going to be at least one more. And I do think I had read somewhere originally, like before this one came out, that she had intended for it to be 5. But yeah, I will definitely keep listening to this and see where all these different plot threads and characters go. I finished Adversary to the Villain on my way home from work, and I have to say, I'm getting a little bit frustrated with this series. Like, it is really fun in the moment, but I feel like there's a good bit of it that could be cut out, and not necessarily cut out, but cut down a little bit. And I do feel like some of the character interactions, especially with like the couples, they get a little repetitive in that it may not be the exact same words, but it's still like the exact same joke behind it. And yeah, so that got a little old. Again, with the twist ending, though, I did really like that. And I have to say that something that happened. I've been waiting for the past, at least the last book, maybe even the second book. I don't fully remember when I first realized what was going to happen, but yeah. So I'm still really interested to see where that whole storyline is going to go. And I'm not sure. I've heard mixed of if this is going to be 5 books or 6 books. I'm kind of really hoping 5, because I feel like everything could be tied up pretty well. And a couple of the couple storylines really don't need that much more to tie up. And a lot of the times they're with another one of the couples. It's a lot of group scenes. So I feel like that would be pretty easy to just kind of bring it all together without it feeling rushed or anything. Plus, again, we've already had 4 books, so I feel like it's been drawn out a lot. So those are my 4 new release sequels that have been released here recently. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit like and subscribe, and that way you'll be notified every time I post a new video. Feel free to leave me a comment down below. Have you read any of these particular books? Have you read any of these series and just aren't quite up to these? What series are you excited for the rest of this year? There's not a whole lot more coming out this year that I feel super interested in. There is, of course, Sarah J. Maas's Court of Thorn and Roses, the next one in that, which I am interested in, but I do still need to get caught up. So yeah, that's kind of all I have for me this year. But I will see you next time in the book cave.